Welcome back, everyone. I'm Sethiroth, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. Today's going to be a bit more of a laid-back kind of video presentation. The mod I'm doing today is called JK's Skyrim. This is a compilation from a modder, JK, who has done a lot of overhauls over the various cities and towns of Skyrim. One of my comments on a previous video was where I got the overhauls for Whiterun, and it comes from JK's Skyrim. If you already are using mods from other holds that you really like, he does have individual mods, so JK's Skyrim Whiterun, Markgarth, Solitude, you can pick and choose whichever suits your fancy. When it comes to modding, though, it is very nice when all of your mods that perform a similar function can all be in one slot. So rather than having mods for every individual hold from JK, I have one mod called JK's Skyrim that's a whole bunch of them all wrapped into one mod. The other purpose of this video is to let you guys know where I've been the last 18 months, give you an idea of everything that's been going on. My life has been a little crazy. So it just seemed like a good time, a good mod that could be demonstrated by just going for a nice walk and telling you guys what all's been happening in the world of Sethiroth. It's kind of funny. I hadn't recorded a video in a while. Yes, I'm sure I do like to kill the Empires. Now is not the right time.
Go talk.
This is actually a character I'm using for a Fenderic's deep dive, so he got modded up to level 40 so that he could actually have all the master level spells. As soon as I got out of Menantis, all the different events that would proc when you're a certain different level, 10, 20, 30, all happen simultaneously. It was quite fun. But here we have JK's Skyrim Whiterun, and this is... One thing I like about JK's work is he adds in stuff without making a lot of really big changes. Like they're mostly decorative. They add in more stuff, more character to what we got from the original game. Which, from a modding standpoint, when I'm going to be adding in other mods, especially here in Whiterun, it's nice knowing that JK's Whiterun doesn't make a whole lot of structural changes. It just adds a lot of window dressing. Because those structural changes, depending on what other mods I try to run, could cause conflicts. So we're just going to go for a nice little walk around town, and then I have a nifty little spell from Fenderic's that will allow me to teleport to other major cities. And, well, 5 major cities should be enough to give you guys a taste of everything that's been going on. Actually, I think I will adjust the audio settings a little bit so that these NPCs aren't stealing my thunder. There we go. Okay, that should be fine. I'm not planning on doing a lot of combat or questing at this point. Alright, so some background. At the start of 2020, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer science. It took almost 10 years to accomplish because I changed my major a couple of times. Also, life just kind of seems to come out of the blue and sideswipe me. Like 2 years before I graduated, I was under the impression that I would have enough Pell Grants to cover my tuition and cost of living. I was living with my wife at the time, and I thought that I could wrap up my education, twice as fast. So, because the money was coming in from the Pell Grants, so I quit my job and got ready to start the fall quarter with all of the financial support that was being promised, so that I could get my education done that much faster. And about a week before school was to start, I found out that none of that money was going to be showing up because they were recalculating how they would decide how much money I was worthy of receiving. And the new calculation decided I was worthy of none of it. So I called the college saying, hi, I'm getting nothing, and I thought I was going to get something. And they said, well, just enroll anyway. And if you're really in trouble in a couple of months, ask us for help and maybe we can help you. So needless to say, I didn't do that. But it cost me about 6 months of... Well, I could have still been going to school part-time if I had to have kept my job. But I didn't because I thought I was going to be making more money, and I did not. So that was actually back in 18, and I'm sharing that because that's kind of the tone that I've experienced for the last 18 months. So at the start of 2020, I graduate with my bachelor's degree, finally. I got a job as an intern for a small tech company and just started working my way up from there. About 3 months into 2020, right before the lockdowns, my mother-in-law, who actually worked with my wife, they worked at the same place as administrative assistants. So my wife would see her mom, 6 or 7 days out of the week, every day for like 10 years. And then her mom was complaining of stomach pain, which finally intensified over months. She was complaining of stomach pain, but in February of 2020, she finally decided to go get it checked out because it was too painful for her to stand up. Couldn't stand up. So she went to the hospital. They found 3 kinds of late-stage cancer, and within a week she was gone. It was all very sudden, and my wife's the kind of person that there's kind of a calm before the storm when it comes to like grief and mourning. So like she seemed okay, but it was more like she was in shock for a couple of months before it really started to hit her. What is this? I haven't been this far back in this modified version of Skyrim before. Oh, this is where you put people. Okay. Well, ask questions, get an answer. Okay. Let's see, where was I at there? Okay, so within a week, my wife went from mom's alive and well to mom's gone. And then within a couple of hours of her passing away, we found out that her dad was also terminal. And his version of terminal would affect his mind as well as his body. So he was not going to be able to live by himself for much longer. We ended up, a few months later, we moved in with my father-in-law. And I mean, there's some tender mercies in this story because I paid my way through school as a certified nurse's assistant. So I'm accustomed to helping people that are sick or elderly or recovering from surgeries. So it worked out pretty good because I was able to take care of him. I mean, I would go to work full time and then come home and take care of my father-in-law, and it just kind of felt like we were running 2 jobs for a while. And he wasn't that hard to take care of. He's almost apologetic for everything that was happening, despite the fact none of it was his fault. It's just life. So we moved in, July of 2020 is when we moved in with him to take care of him, and we were under the impression at the time that he only had a few months left because of the progression of his disease that the doctors predicted anyway. So that was pretty intense because not only were we moving into their place, but all of our stuff kind of went into storage, and those obviously your parents didn't have any time to really prepare for this. It all just kind of hit pretty quick. So they had about 20 years worth of stuff piled up, and my wife is terrified of throwing out something that might be of emotional importance. So most of that stuff is still piled up around here. I managed to clear out a couple of rooms, so when I'm working in the office or the master bedroom, I was able to clear those out, so at least part of the house feels like home. But the rest of it is still waiting to get sorted, because it all just kind of hit. Anyway, so that was the first crisis. I mentioned 4 life crises. The first one was my mother-in-law passing suddenly, like within a week she was gone. And then father-in-law becoming terminal, and we moved in to help him. And he and my wife, they have a lot of emotional baggage. They're very much like fire and ice, water and oil. They had some tough times. Living together was difficult for them. So for a few months there, I was also kind of a part-time therapist, trying to keep the peace, which gets tricky when the decibel level of the conversation rises above 90. Okay, let's go ahead and check out Windhelm next. Yeah, this JK Skyrim covers all the major holds, and I believe it also covers some smaller towns, Falkreath, Riverwood, a whole bunch of them. I think we'll only have time to look at the major holds, but that's just keep in mind when you do look at that mod, it does cover a lot more than simply these major holds. Let's see, so where was I? Okay, so that was July of 2020. About November of 2020, we realized his condition is, he's still terminal, but it was going to take a lot longer to pass than anyone had anticipated, which it was kind of a two-edged sword. Obviously, it's a blessing to have a loved one around longer than you were told by the doctors that they would be around. But it got a little complicated because we were waiting to obviously move their stuff out and our stuff in. But obviously I'm not going to do that while the man is, dying in the next room watching me haul out boxes and boxes of his memorabilia. That wasn't going to happen. So I guess that was crisis number 2, was moving in to take care of a dying in-law. Crisis number 3 was November of 2022. Let's see. November of 2020. I feel like I've got my timelines mixed up. Anyway, it was about this time last year that we moved in. We were getting settled, and then in November we found out that my wife was pregnant, which was a wonderful blessing. It was our first child, and we had kind of been hoping for a child, but it had been quite a while that we were trying and nothing was happening, so we were just kind of focused on taking care of my father-in-law and leaving it at that. And then we didn't expect to be pregnant while simultaneously taking care of the father-in-law. The more my wife's pregnancy progressed, the less contributions she was able to make around the house, obviously, because, once you've got an extra 30 pounds strapped to your belly, that's cuts down on your ability to mow the lawn, for example. Which is kind of extra duties that kind of fell on my shoulders on top of working full-time, which was just life. Life can be stressful like that. So about June of this year, May. It's May of this year. My father-in-law finally passed away. By the end there, he didn't have very much quality of life. He couldn't do a lot on his own. He was pretty much bedridden. I think he was relieved to finally be able to go. Just took him a while to settle into the idea. But by then we were 7 months pregnant, which made it difficult to try and move our stuff in, because obviously it was just me at that point to do any literal heavy lifting. Let's see, so that was May of this year, and then just a few weeks later, middle of June, I get a call from my boss letting me know that I'm being let go that instant. I didn't even have a few hours to put together notes or guides for any of the software solutions that I developed over the years that I was working there. So that was fun, because it was a good company. They were offering paid paternity leave for a month. So we were very much expecting within a couple months to be taking care of our son and making enough money to cover that, and instead I was let go right before the birth, and that just limited our options. Alright, let's try out I think Riften next. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, so that was June. Sarah was 8 months pregnant at the time, and yeah, got let go, no warning. Brindolf, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm sorry, but wow, this is a beautiful addition to Riften. Has more color, more life than I remember from the vanilla game. Anyway, so let's see. At that point, I was unemployed. My wife was still working, so she was working full-time, and I was trying to get the house ready for a baby. That was fun. Lots to do. And then, let's see, we were expecting the baby to come on the 18th of July, and baby had other plans. So we had a specific hospital where we wanted to have the baby, and my mother lives near there, so we just went to visit her for a week, and we're just kind of waiting for baby to pop, knowing that we'd be right next to the hospital that had the best reputation and that we trusted the most with our baby. And Junior didn't decide to come then. So we went back home after staying a week at my mom's. And Sarah took a test, and they told her she'd have to get induced the following Sunday. So we were told basically that we'd have 4 days to rest, recuperate, plan, be ready. And then another one of her tests came back positive, and we were told we had 2 hours. So we went from 4 days to prepare for the birth to 2 hours. And we just kind of piled everything into the car, grabbed everything we could, and head to the hospital. Obviously, that's a, I don't know if life crisis is the best term you want to use to your first son, but definitely a life challenge. There was some complications during the pregnancy that was kind of made me a little nervous, but we got through it just fine. So that was mid-July that we came home with our newborn baby. Newborn, obviously, if you've had a newborn, they do not sleep on they don't do the 9 to 5 schedule. They do not do sleeping during the day and awake at night, or even sleeping during the night and awake during the day. They're just kind of 3-hour intervals all the time. So we've been trying to figure out a schedule. At first, there was a schedule where she could, well, no, let's see, she was on maternity leave at that point. I was still unemployed. So at least we did have some quiet time with the baby where neither one of us was working. That was nice. That was nice. And then a couple weeks later, Sarah was complaining of pain in her ribs. So we went to get that checked out. And so then we spent the next 5 days in the hospital. So we had like 2 weeks out after the birth. We went back to the hospital so that Sarah could get some work done on her gallbladder that was close to rupturing. And that was also nerve-wracking because, you don't spend 5 days at a hospital with a newborn because they might catch something hazardous to their health. So that was a little nerve-wracking. It was like we've had the baby for 3 weeks and we were already leaving him with friends and family. It was lots of mixed feelings around that time. Thankfully, about a week ago, I started a new job working remotely as a web developer. So we do have, and it is making a bit more than I was making at my first web development job. So in essence, I have traded up, I guess you could say. We're hoping soon for Sarah to be able to leave her job once she can help them find and train a replacement for her. And then we can focus on just hopefully being a family for a while and having no more crises. So yeah, that was the last 18 months we've had. It was particularly hard on my wife because, pardon me, I just had dinner. It's still kind of bubbling inside. Anyway, it was hard on my wife because she's only got one other sibling aside from her 2 parents. So she basically watched half her loved ones disappear within about a year and a half. Thankfully, my family is pretty big. I've got 4 siblings and over 36 cousins just on my dad's side. So I've been trying to initiate more conversations, I guess, between her and my family so she can at least have something. Once you lose both your parents, that's not that I'm trying to replace her parents, but I'm trying to give her some other sources of emotional support that she might not have otherwise. All right, let's check out Markgarth. Let's find a nice view up top here. Find a nice place from which to look down upon the noble people of Markgarth. Yeah, so that's about where I'm at now. It wasn't all... Obviously, I wasn't making videos for quite some time, but I was still modding. My load order is twice the size it used to be, and by some miracle, it's still stable. I made it all the way to level 40 before I had one crash to desktop. That was just kind of a fluke. Like, I went right back to the same location, doing the same things, no crash. And I guess one crash every 40 levels is not bad for a load order that you've just kind of put together with the limited amount of experience that I have. Although I'm pretty thorough when it comes to reading the mod pages and checking off all the to-do lists and making sure that is a beautiful addition. Yeah, I'm pretty thorough when it comes to reading the instructions and putting together the mod lists, and I do have a web development background, which has helped me when I'm debugging certain issues with the mods. But I guess since I don't feel like I'm quite ready for actually making my own mods, I always feel a little bit like I'm, I don't know, a guest to the modding world rather than a modder within the modding world. It's on my list. It's on my list. First off, I've got to get back into doing some videos and catching the modding bug, which we've finally got past enough of these crises that I've caught myself looking back at my modding lists, and I have a spreadsheet with every mod that you guys have recommended to me over the course of this channel. So I was going through it earlier today, actually looking for all the vampire mods, all the werewolf mods, and trying to figure out how many of them would be all compatible in one load order, so I could run multiple showcases off of one load order. Yeah, I spent a lot of free time in the last year on the Nexus. I have like 50 pages of tracked mods on the Nexus. I'm a little worried that I'm going to get a warning at some point that's like, dude, no one tracks 1,500 mods. We didn't build our website so you could track 1,500 mods. And the little modding addict in me is like some Pokemon trainer on steroids. It's like, but I want them all. I want to track them all. They're all wonderful and I love them. Or I don't know yet if these 1,500 mods are wonderful because I haven't tried them yet, but they sound fantastic and I very much want to find out. That is a nice view. We'll circle around to the Temple of Dibella here and then pop over to Solitude. I am saving Solitude for last because it is the grandest of the holds. As far as the upcoming content, right now I'm focusing on mod showcases because it gives us the best opportunity for a wide range of content. That is a nice touch. I just love the concept of modding, being able to take a game that you already love and then just dialing it up to 11. It's fantastic. Alright, last but not least, off to Solitude. And if you do want to check out this mod yourselves, as long as you don't have any mods that alter the landscape drastically in these holds, you would be able to insert JK's Skyrim pretty consistently into your load order without a lot of crashing. So like if you were starting a new load order and you just wanted a single mod that would overhaul like 80% of the content, JK's Skyrim is a good place to start because that's going to take care of a lot of the holds and the cities, and I mean that's where your character spends most of your relaxation time, I guess. Your smithing time, your questing time will be spent in civilization. And there are countless mods to help you out when you're away from civilization. This is a cool little thing. Now this little thing can be shut / I don't think I've ever found it locked, but it makes sense that a city that is preparing for a potential siege from Stormcloaks would start investing in iron gates and so on. Let's see. I am working on a deep dive right now for Fenderix. This is actually the Fenderix load order right now, which is why this guy has like all the Fenderix spells. They are fantastic. I'll give you guys one little spoiler. Hopefully I don't accidentally kill someone with this. This is my favorite spell that I found so far on the Fenderix mod. It's called Bird Bomb. It is a literal bird that flies through the air and explodes. I am easily amused. I think that might be me being easily amused, but there's just I do wish maybe when I'm a little more confident with my modding, I may actually go in there and add in like caca, because that would be pretty funny. Caca, you're dead. Caca, you're dead. Okay, sorry, serious face now. So yes, I am working on some deep dives at the moment, and I have had a couple requests on my channel for some tutorials as well. I have been toying with the idea of rolling up my sleeves and starting a load order over and really taking the time to fully vet every modding tool as I build a new load order, and then that would kind of naturally develop all the tutorials for each step of the way, while I could simultaneously show you guys my process as I'm building the load order. Like, what kind of mods do I start with? What kind of checks or plugins and patches do I make to try and keep things going? Wow, it's a beautiful city. One of the nice things about the changes that JK has made to all these major holds is there are more plants. So the inner alchemist in me is like, more ammo. I approve, sir. Hard to disagree with more ammo, more plants, more toys. Good times. So yeah, that's been my life for the last 18 months or so. It has just felt like the hits just keep coming. But hopefully getting my wife home from the hospital, and she recovered just fine, thankfully. And our little baby boy is doing well. He is a little gem. He's fantastic. He only cries when there's a problem, and it's this like soft, almost apologetic cry. It's like, I feel like I'm just a guest here, but something doesn't quite feel right. Could someone come help? I've been told once they hit like the 3-month mark, that's when the cry becomes like, I am being amputated with no anesthesia, help me. But we'll see what happens. Cross that bridge when we get there. I am somehow, by some small miracle, able to mod and be coherent enough to do these videos while still being sleep deprived. Although, truth be told, I did have a nap after work earlier today, so that might have helped a little bit as I've put together this playthrough.
Hey, wanna play tag?
Thankfully, because I work remotely, the company I work with is on the East Coast, and they work more by, it's called deliverables, so I have to have a certain amount of progress on a project done by like the next 2 days or 3 days, which means I can work whenever I want. Like at 3 this morning, I was up with the baby and couldn't sleep, so I just hopped on the computer, put in a couple hours of work, and was able to get off work 2 hours earlier today because I was able to get work done ahead of time. So that's actually worked out quite well, actually, for the two of us, that my schedule is that flexible. So yeah, that is my life so far. That's a taste of what's coming on the channel. I am going to continue putting up more videos and showcases and deep dives and possibly some tutorials. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have a particular preference, if you prefer one, the other, all above, if there's a specific kind of content or a particular mod that you are just fascinated by that you'd like to see on the channel. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for your guys' support and for staying tuned with me throughout this whole crazy 18 months that I've had. Your guys' comments have been really supportive and warm, and you guys are fantastic. You deserve all the content that I can chug out. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.